in town. They're 20-5. Atop the NBA standings along with the what's that I hear? Is that howling in the distance?
It's a puppy.
Oh, I can hear those wolves howling all the way into the Bay Area. Wow. But those T-Wolves.
Gutsy win in Miami last night.
Yeah.
They're doing better on the court than off, though.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying.
They're fine. They're fine. Draymond Green obviously won't be playing tonight. He won't be playing for the foreseeable future. Chris Paul is is listed as questionable tonight because of illness. And here's the question that we're batting around right now. I'll try to set it up as succinctly as I can, although it is a little stretch. So the Golden State Warriors, 10 of their next 11 at home. 10 of their next 11 are at home, and it's most likely that they're going to play all those games without Draymond Green. Okay, so you're playing the next 11, 12 games without Draymond Green, and if and when he comes back around that time, or even a week or two later, that puts us about a week or two before the trade deadline. What do you want to happen? What is the best case scenario? And the reason I'm asking this is because for me, I'm feeling like, man, any chance you can go 10-5 over the next 15, and then maybe you start thinking about transitioning off Draymond. By the same token, Evan saying, we go 10-5, and we're building some momentum. Maybe that's when you get Draymond back and he takes you to the next level. I think it's fascinating, and I think it's something that the Warriors are wrestling with, quite frankly.
Yeah, and to your point about, so for me, another reason why I guess I would consider trading him if things go wrong is you already have evidence that Draymond during a losing season is also not someone you really want to have around because he has given up on seasons in the past. Now, that season didn't include Steph or Clay, so maybe this is slightly different, but I wouldn't want him around for that. If they're winning, though, I also think that, and I don't know, maybe you call him a front runner, but like he does feed off of that winning energy as well. So I think Draymond could amplify what the Warriors are doing well if they go 10-5. And then I would look to add something at the deadline. And the piece that, again, I brought up yesterday, the piece that I would use to try and better your roster or bolster it is Chris Paul. And I think that's one of the reasons why he was brought in here is to be potential trade bait at the deadline. He's an expiring contract because of the non-guaranteed situation next year. I also think that someone like Brandon Podziemski has made it more feasible for you to not necessarily need a veteran, older kind of point guard because Podziemski looks like he could run the second unit if you need him to.
Right.
So I know he's in the starting lineup right now, but if they moved off of Paul, I think that Pods is a guy that I could trust to fill that role.
Yeah.
Or he's looking like he's trending in that direction.
Yeah, we can talk more about Podziemski throughout the show. I do really like him, but I really do like him. But then you think, well, let's not get too carried away yet. So I really, there's some stuff that he does that it takes some other players years to figure out about the NBA. And there's things that he has figured out about the NBA already. So I'm a big Podziemski fan. I just think sometimes we have a tendency to get carried away with young players before we see them play a few years. That said, again, I like Podziemski.
That's fair.
All right, 888-957-9570 is the number. Let's start out with, let's go to Al. Al's in San Francisco. What's going on, Al? How you doing, man?
Hey.
How are you?
What's up, Stein?
Hey.
I'm okay. I'm good.
What you know what, Al? You're clicking. Call back. Call back. Not a great connection. Let's go out to Atlanta. Brandon is in Atlanta. What's up, Brandon? How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going, Steiny? How's it going?
Going well, man.
I want to propose a trade.
Oh. Ding, da, da, ding.
Can I do that?
Sure. I'm all ears.
Ready?
Give it.
Thanks, John.
Draymond Green for Jordan Poole. Send Draymond to the Warriors. Bring back Jordan Poole. They make about the same salary.
Oh, boy.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Let me ask you.
One of them's going to be a Chase
Would you
Center
do
on
it?
Friday.
Would you do it?
No.
I wouldn't either, even though.
Those were 2 years ago.
Don't let Jordan Poole come in here on Friday and beat the Warriors. Oh, God. That would be.
I mean, even if they lose, but he has a good game, like if Poole has, I don't know, 30, 30 he's not going to score 60. He might get 60 shots off, but if he scores 35 or has a big night in front of the Chase Center crowd, man.
Let me ask you this. Would you do something like this? And I've heard this guy's available, but you better give up a lot of picks. Steiny, send Utah all the picks they need so we can get Lauri Markkanen. I'm just telling you right now, you got to be careful moving picks left and right in the future at this point. Hey, let me ask you this. A couple years ago, I was the guy who was saying, you got to be careful about these future picks. You got to be anybody else concerned about just throwing picks in for a guy who you think might be able to give Steph Curry a hand for a couple years?
Yeah, especially if you're talking about the haul that Utah wants, which is like 4 or 5 first-round picks.
First rounders.
Well, or pick swaps, or like is a combination.
Sure.
I mean, they said they wanted something like the Gobert deal, and I think that was 4 first-round picks. Now that is, I think, even Minnesota might look at back. Gobert's playing very well for them right now. They're the best defense in the NBA. They might also regret that in a couple of years. So if you're the Warriors, I don't want to trade any draft pick beyond the end of Steph Curry's contract. So that would be, 2026, I think?
They
or
can't
2027?
Yeah.
But they can't trade a pick until 2026.
Correct, yeah.
So that would be Curry's age 37 or 38 season. And, I mean, he was probably still going to be a productive player, but I'm assuming he's not going to still be an MVP candidate. If he is, that's miraculous and incredible. But I'm certainly not trading a 2028 pick. I ain't trading a 2030 pick. And then you're asking for, because you can't trade back-to-back years. So you're just asking to double up down the line. And one of the reasons why I don't also want to trade first-round picks is because of this pick this year. They traded it for Andre Iguodala to Memphis, 3 or 4 years ago? And it ends up coming back to be a position where you don't know which way the season's going.
Right.
You would like to have that first-round pick, but instead you gave it away. Memphis, in fact, trades it to Boston, who they're playing tonight. Boston ships it off to Portland, and now Portland's sitting pretty with probably 2 top 10 picks if this season goes off the rails for the Warriors. That's another reason why I can't move off capital.
The Uncle Looney on the YouTube chat says, I asked the question about what do you do? He said, can we answer in 3 weeks? Yeah, you can answer in 3 weeks, Uncle Loon. I'm just saying, what's the best case scenario? I mean, if you play great without Draymond, do you look at Draymond coming back as something that's going to elevate you further? Or do you look at it as if we play well without Draymond, then maybe we show everybody that he's not as indispensable as some people think? I just think we're going to find a lot out in the next 3 to 4 weeks about where the Warriors are headed. Let's try Al again in San Francisco. Hey, Al, how you doing?
Hey, I'm okay, guys. Sorry about the disconnection earlier. I don't know what's wrong with my phone.
All good.
Hey, thank you, Steiny and Evans. I just want to comment on this Draymond Green situation. It's been going on too long, and I think this indefinite suspension is good, but I hope it goes longer than that because the Warriors should play, try to change up and get these youngsters in. Baby T played a hell of a game that night. I think he should be, inserted into the lineup, get more minutes because he is a baller. And also, with the Kuminga coming up and Clay is coming out like fire, man. And Wiggins is getting the role, and I think with going forward with the next 10 games, if the Warriors are doing good, they don't need Draymond to come. I mean, if he comes back, they don't need him on the floor. And I think he bailed out on the team, man. This was a bailout. He knew that the team needed him, and he did that on purpose so he could get suspended and get all, sit out. And so nobody will blame this season on him. That's what I think he did. He bailed out, instead of being a true Warrior and duel all the way till the end and see what happens. But hopefully, I like to see him get traded. You know, if Warriors are doing good, there should be no changes, and they like come up with trade to trade him, or sit him on the bench, man. That's what I think. But thank you, guys. Have a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Appreciate the call. I think there's a lot of Warrior fans that feel that way, that it's time. Uncle Looney comes back and says, I don't think any team would trade for Draymond. He's ours, whether we like it or not. Do you agree with that? I don't think anybody wants Draymond. I actually disagree with that.
You think there are teams that would want Draymond?
There are a few. I think there's a few. Now, I don't know how much. I think Uncle Looney's right. I don't think they're going to give up very much. But
Well, and that's why I think that
you can't tell me the Lakers wouldn't want Draymond Green. But
then
you may be gifting them something that puts them over the top.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how Draymond would fit with a team like the Lakers. He doesn't really add shooting, which is kind of all that they need at this point. I mean, they're a pretty good defensive team without a guy like Draymond, but his relationship with LeBron, I don't know. But the thing is, whatever you get back from a team is probably going to involve something for the future. Like, it would probably be, I don't know, an expiring deal or a player that can't really help you this season, but it comes with picks. And then, to me, you're signaling that you just are not going to try this year, or you're not going to try and give Steph or Clay or all of these guys an opportunity in the postseason. And that's a signal that I personally just don't want to send to this team, because they've already had to go through the ringer through 26 games, and it looks like they might be digging themselves out of a hole. Again, we'll see over the next 10, 11 games if they can, but if they do, well, then all the work that this team has done, and I know a lot of it is because Draymond put them in that situation, but all the work that they will have done to that point, in my mind, is kaput, because you're saying that a guy that could help us in a postseason series, you don't want him on the team anymore.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I mean, it's a little bit of a conundrum for sure. The other thing you have to factor in, I think, is that Draymond's got 3.5 more years left on his deal.
Well, and that's again, I don't think
you get through 1 year and he's got 3 more.
But I don't think you have to move him now.
No, I don't either.
Or in 3 weeks.
I don't either. And really, you and I are just splitting hairs. I'm saying if I don't think either of us are saying make the only danger of making a move now or not making a move now would be if Mike Dunleavy knows he's sitting on an offer and he's like, this is pretty good. I mean, this is a pretty good offer. Then what do? Let's say you don't do it and then it never comes back. But no, I think you and I are generally aligned. Let's see what happens over the next 10, 12, 15. Here's where I'm at. If I see something real positive out of the next 12 to 15 games, it would make me more likely to try to move off him. It just would. And I completely understand somebody who might take the other view and say, well, we played really well without Draymond. Let's get him back. Here's the other thing. Somebody said this on the text line. Would Draymond come off the bench? Yes, absolutely. In fact, I got to believe that after he should come off the bench and assimilate quite slowly, if you want me to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I mean, I'd start Draymond off when he comes back, if he's coming back, with 15 minutes a game and say, if you're good, 15 minutes and we'll go to 20, we'll go to 25, et cetera. But would it be disappointing if Draymond's suspension ends and he's in the starting lineup the very next day playing 30 minutes?
Probably.
Don't you want him coming off the bench in a way?
Well, I think also because, so if this starting lineup, which is probably going to be the same starting lineup that it's been for the last 3 games tonight against Boston, and this is where I think the game tonight is significant. If that starting lineup plays well and they continue to play well, I also don't think Draymond would be...
That's correct.
I don't think he'd be... I got to be careful here. I don't think he'd be arrogant enough to say, I deserve to be in the starting lineup over a team that just went 10-5.
I agree.
I think he's smart enough to know that.
I do give him that, for sure. For sure. And we saw that, what was it, last year? We saw it last year when he said he'd come off the bench and nobody thought
against Sacramento, right?
Exactly. Jason's in the Central Valley. What's up, Jace? How you doing, man?
Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Yes, sir.
Just going back to this Draymond situation, even if you were to trade him, like what you guys have been talking about, like what can you even get for him, right? And who would even take him? Probably future picks would be the only thing you can get for him. I don't think anyone would take Draymond on, with 3 years left on his deal. And, for a while I struggled with thinking who would even, be interested in taking him. Two teams in the West that might be willing to take him. One I thought of is maybe the Kings because Mike Brown is there and his veteran IQ might be able to assist that team with getting to the next step. And also a team like OKC who has a ton of picks that may be willing to trade some of that away to get a veteran like Draymond on their bench too. So, but at the same time, if the Warriors do choose to let go of Draymond, I feel like they will become some sort of team like the Phoenix Suns with, when they had Steve Nash and those guys run and gun type of team, where their defense becomes their offense. So I'm kind of excited. I'm definitely excited about the young guys. Don't know what to do about Draymond. I do agree that it is more of a wait and see situation, but definitely this situation is playing with all of the diehard fans' emotions right now. So just very excited to see how everything plays out. Looking forward to how Paz and Kuminga do against a great team like the Celtics. So it's a great litmus test too. So appreciate the time on the air, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate the call. This is from the 510. All these people asking for Draymond to be traded. Is there a market out there I'm not aware of? Maybe not now, but okay. So the market for Draymond to me is pretty simple. Any team 500 or below has no interest in him. Probably no young team would have interest in him. I mean, I'd be shocked if the Orlando Magic have any interest in Draymond Green, a team that's kind of young and growing. I think we're talking about a very select few teams that feel like they're in a title window, and Draymond can push them over the top. I mean, I don't want to get into exact fits, but if you're Milwaukee, Philly, I think Philly would have interest in Draymond Green.
I think the team to me that would be the best fit would be actually Dallas.
Interesting.
I think the Mavericks could use a Draymond Green because they don't really have an interior presence outside of what their rookie
Lively.
Derek Lively.
He's lively.
Good. But Grant Williams, do you want him starting a postseason series? He started all 23 games for them this year. I think him and Kyrie would be an interesting pair, but Kyrie's also been pretty reserved for Kyrie standards this season.
Right.
It's a team that's not necessarily young nor old, but might be able to benefit defensively. They take the most threes in the league, so they're not a team that is necessarily worried about getting bogged down. Like, they have enough shooters.
Hey, by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt.
And they might be able to give something up.
Sorry to interrupt, but you want to take that back?
What?
You said something just ridiculously erroneous.
What did I say?
I said, I got to believe the Lakers could use Draymond Green. And you said, but they need shooting.
Yeah.
So they couldn't use a 45% three-point shooter?
My God.
Yeah, Goo. Yeah, Goo.
He's having a career year, Steiny. All right, how much you want to bet by the end of the year he's shooting 35% from three?
Or lower?
Or lower, yeah. It's 35.
Well, no, he's put a third of the season behind his back.
You actually brought something up I always think is funny now when I watch, or eventually when I get to watch Draymond again. How many of those threes are beyond the first quarter? Like, people just let him sit on the three-point line, butt naked open. He'll hit a couple, and then the rest of the game, it's like, well, someone turned the water off.
Here's what, here's why our listeners are the absolute positive best. So Draymond Green, right now, is averaging, he's shooting 43% from three-point range. He's 18 for 42. Here's your project, listeners, should you choose to take it on. Can we break down those 18 threes by quarter? How many he made in the first quarter, second, third, fourth? And I know we got diehards out there who they probably have that information at their fingertips.
Yeah, you want to give me a sec?
925. You guys don't know ball. He's valuable for contenders. Yeah, that's what I kind of said. You got to be the right team. I'd say 3 to 5 teams would be interested. I think like the Miami Heat would be a team that could take him on. Let's go out to...
Real quick, you want to know what he's shooting in the first quarter from three?
Sure.
56%. He's 14 to 25.
So 14 of his 18.
He hasn't made a three-pointer in the second half of a game this year.
And you know what?
That's pretty incredible.
Good chance he won't for a while.